Well, if you just saw that, our next guest today on our webcast doesn't need a lot of introduction. The Australian Ninja Warrior, Matthew Bowles, is joining us today. And so, Matthew, welcome. And thank you for joining us on the FitPro WEBCAST.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, the reason that this came about is about 6 months ago, I was in my hometown of Perth, Western Australia. Turned on the television and actually saw what our viewers just saw. And it made me think, like, how does somebody train for an event like that? What do you focus on? Where do you go? And then when I found out that actually Matt was also from Perth, Western Australia, I was very keen to reach out to Matt and just to ask some of these questions that were burning inside me. So I'm very excited to have Matt here today. Once again, thank you for joining us, dragging you away from the beach in the sun. But Matt, before we get started, can you just take a minute or two and tell us a little bit about yourself? Who's behind the Australian Ninja Warrior, Matt Bowles?
Hi, well, I'm Matthew Bowles. I live in Perth. I'm 25 years old, and I'm a draftsman. I do like CAD design drawing on computer. I'm originally from Manchester in the UK. I moved over in 2013, so I've been here almost 10 years now. And yeah, I'm loving the Perth life. I didn't like moving when I was nearly 17 when I moved over. Obviously, it's like a hard age. You just finished school. It was horrible at the time. I didn't want to move. I was like to my parents, I'm staying at home. Moved over. I'm super glad that I did. I would never done the Ninja Warrior stuff, and I think I've really fallen in love with the summer and the beach life over here.
Yeah, I can understand that. So just to find out a little bit about this, because as I said, when I saw you on television and all of the athletes, my question was like, how do you actually train? What even makes you think about going into an event like this, which just looks horrendous? But what made you do it? Why did you do Australian Ninja Warrior? What was the when the penny dropped, you went, okay, I'm going to do that?
Well, if you would have told me I would have been doing Ninja Warrior when I first moved to Australia, I wouldn't have believed you. I kind of just fell into it. Now, from the age of around, 8 till 14-ish, I did gymnastics in England. This was in Manchester, CMIG. I did gymnastics there. I did it like it was maybe just below elite level. It was like 6 to 7 hours a week. Monday, Wednesday, Saturday I'd go. Mostly because my sister was in the under 16s for the Olympics. She was really, really good. She's like 30 plus hours a week. And I wasn't trusted to be left at home on my own. So I would just be chucked into the classes. At the time, I just did it as for fun. And I think having that background of being able to, swing around bars, do flips, I've always been able to do pull-ups and push-ups just because of the conditioning that they made me do. And the flexibility, just all these things, and like handstands, I've always been able to walk on my hands and hang from the bars for super long times, and it's just what I did as a kid. And then when I moved over to Australia in Perth, because I finished school in England, and I went back to school here for a year, and we did rock climbing every week. And because I did all the gymnastics, I was quite good at rock climbing, so I kept doing that, on and off and I still do it now. I still do it on and off right now. And that, Ninja Warrior, you need strong hands, strong forearms, forearm endurance. You don't want to be big and muscular. You kind of want to have a good power to body weight ratio, just like rock climbing, just like gymnastics. I also did a year of flying trapeze. I was a catcher at a catching rig here at it used to be called Challenge Stadium. I think you know where that is. In Perth, I went once and I had friends in the circusy kind of crew, and they were like, hey, when you're small and skinny and strong, you can fit in the catch strap and catch people. And I was like, yeah, okay. So I did like a training block, and then sadly at the end of the year it closed down. The owners had a baby and blah blah blah, but that gave me really good like swinging, and I was like really good, because flying trapeze is all about swinging on a pendulum. And I think that's another thing that added to my Ninja Warrior resume. And then where I live in Perth, there's a place called Ninja Academy, And it's just like it's kind of like the show. It's just like it was an 18 plus like adult gym, and I think I went there when I was about 19, and I just signed up straight away for a comp. I didn't even like go to train there. I just drove there, signed up for a comp. I didn't do amazing, but I did okay. And I think I went back again to play there, and I found, oh, these obstacles are really easy. And I made friends there, and I ended up, I think the year after that I was maybe in my 20s, and I just signed up there and started training there, and I found it really fun. And obviously I was pretty good, and I started doing some comps, and I started winning all the comps, and I was like, maybe I should apply for Ninja Warrior in Australia. So it was, I think season 3 was my first season, and I've done season 4. Number 5 I was just about to do, but COVID, and my partner was sick at the time, so I was literally about to fly out. Partner had to have emergency surgery. Long story, I had to stay with her, and then I've just done season 6 this year in Sydney.
And well, and that was an amazing event. So, I mean, obviously, some of the things you've done in your past have totally set you up for this. But when it actually comes to training for it, what do you focus on? Obviously, you just said upper body strength and forearm strength, which I understand. But how do you set your training program? What do you focus on?
So ever since I was about 18, 19, I went to a normal gym, and I really got into powerlifting. But when you're lifting heavy weights, it makes me more hungry, and I get too heavy, and it makes the body weight stuff less easy. So when I'm training for, let's say, coming up to season 6, I would cut out doing any really heavy stuff, and I'd do a bit of intermittent fasting, so I'd naturally get a little bit lighter, and I would train more pull-up endurance and finger endurance. I've already got like the skill of swinging, like that's a skill that I've got for life. Like I feel doing gymnastics, swinging around in circles on bars, swinging between obstacles, like I feel like I've got that, and I don't really need to train it that much. Like doing the salmon ladder, it's like riding a bike. Once you've played on obstacles, and like I've done so much climbing and locking off in these positions, that's a skill that I've already got. So I just train like pull-up endurance, forearm endurance. Like I'll have a goal. I'll do like every week I must do at least 400 pull-ups spread out throughout the week, and then what's that there? I'll do about 400 pull-ups spread out throughout the week. I'll hang from the bar on my 1 finger or 2 fingers in between rest sets, and just like get myself ready. And then when I go to play, like have a play on the course and do some endurance, I'll do like 100 pull-ups, and then I'll play on the course. I'll really fatigue myself, so that, because when you're doing the show, you're doing it, quite late at night, and you don't know when you're going to be running. It'll be in the early hours of the morning. It could be day after day. You could like, it could be, you could be doing stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, day after day, and you could be really, really tired. And obviously the pressure and the stress of the show, most people don't sleep very well. So that's why I would pre-fatigue myself, make sure I can do everything, really tired, really sore. And that's honestly, I found that's prepared me for like, all the worst scenarios, and it's got me through the hardest obstacles that I've been through so far.
So obviously, in Perth, we have our own Ninja Warrior Centre, which is an obviously great place for you to train. If someone is watching this and it's something that they wanted to get into, they don't have a Ninja Warrior Centre down the road, obviously the place they're going to access is a normal gym. So what exercises should they do to replicate, or focus on to replicate, what would make them strong in an event like that?
Well, one thing kids are like, a lot of kids watch Ninja Warrior, and they ask me, oh, how do you get good? And I give them honesty. I say, start doing gymnastics, because that's probably one of the training's tough on you, and it's tough on you for a reason. You're not going to want to stretch. You're not going to want to do pull-ups and muscle-ups and push-ups at a young age. But gymnastics, well, from when I did my gymnastics, was pretty strict. Some days I'd be tearful because they'd be sitting on me in the splits, or nobody likes to do conditioning. But when you're there, if you don't do the conditioning, you can't do the fun flips and stuff. But I feel like that's a really good base. Like, you don't need it, but I think some of the top Ninja Warriors have some sort of gymnastics background, gymnastics or rock climbing, but the top ones have more of a gymnastics background. But exercise wise, it'd be anything from just going to your local climbing gym, or just doing lots of, I know it's boring, but pull-ups, weighted pull-ups. You can just like hang on the bar with 2 fingers, 1 finger. And you can do this, let's say you just did a normal gym and you're doing your bench press or squats in between. I'd literally just, hang from 2 fingers on the bar, 1 arm, or practice building up. Or you can do 30 seconds with 2 fingers, 1 arm, then you build it up to a minute. Or, you start off with 2 hands, you try and get to 2 minutes, then you do, 1 minute with 1 hand. The little things like that. This is like very, very basic and beginner things, but you do kind of want some kind of experience swinging between a bar, or but there's rock climbing gyms where you can, there's hard rock climbs where you can jump between rocks. And actually in Manchester there's a really big ninja playground for adults and kids as well that I've not had the chance to go to yet, but I know now it's more of a popular thing, especially in America. It's extremely popular, but in the UK and all around the world there's these like big kid play centers for adults, really, and they're popping up all over the place. I believe I've read something that the Ninja Warrior style races are also going to be included into the Olympics at some point, because I think it's just fascinating to watch. It's people watch the running and the marathons, and then you see things like the Ninja Warrior. It brings attention, so it brings more attention to the Olympics. I think that's why they're bringing it. There'll be, they've brought in the speed climbing and the bouldering recently. Same with the OCR ninja kind of obstacles. They'll be coming in as well.
Well, and also it's a great spectator sport. I mean, it's a really fantastic, your heart's in your mouth the whole time. And it actually looks like a lot of fun. I mean, it must be devastating when you're halfway through a run and you fall off and, you know that you can complete it. But everyone just seems to be so well-natured and just having a good time. And it's it just looks like a really inclusive sport that is, obviously there's a great deal of athletic training, but it does look like there's a good atmosphere, a good community, and a lot of fun. So
yeah, that's one thing. Everyone's super friendly, and most of the time you're against the clock, you're against the course, you're not against others. Apart from the last season, there was some head-to-head races, but most even with the head-to-head races, everyone's still super friendly, and I feel like it's a good community, and everyone's always helpful, and it's always a good. I've made so many friends from it, like all over the different states, because we all come together. And you spend a lot of time with them, especially because of the COVID thing, and you're stuck in one location filming for months on end.
I get it. So do you do a lot of cardio training?
Not really. I probably should do more. That's another thing. Yeah. So before the show, because I'm not that interested in doing that much cardio, unless it's like indoor soccer or something fun. I guess I just get bored easily, and I'm just not that good at cardio. But I used to enjoy going on one run a week when I lived really close to the beach. At one point I used to just go once a week on the beach. I found that really, really good. But I don't live near the beach at the moment, and I'm usually so busy on my weekends. I put cardio is not my top priority, but before the show I do try and go on like at least 1 or 2 runs a week, 4 to 5 kilometers, just to get that, the cardio in there, because not that you're on the course for a long time, but it does help with that lactic acid recovery and having a calmer heart rate. It does help. Instead, you're like, you do 2 obstacles, you're like trying to breathe. It's not gonna help you out at all.
Well, it doesn't seem to have affected you so far, so I wouldn't worry about
I did do
it.
cardio before the show, but it's not my exercise choice. Well, the thing is, right, actually at the moment, all I can really do is running and sit-ups, because I've done something to this wrist. I've done a ligament in this wrist, and I've been doing a lot of hand balancing, because I do hand balancing classes. It's really fun. Just takes me back to my gymnastics days, and I've been learning the one-arm handstand, so I've been doing a lot of pressure on this wrist, and this is the 4th week now I've not been able to use it at all. Can't put any weight on it, can't hang from a bar.
Oh.
Even cycling like yesterday around Rocknest, it's killing me. I've seen a specialist on Friday. I've been back and forwards with the doctors the past month. Something to do with my ligaments, so I'm finally going to a specialist.
So that actually segues quite nicely into one of the questions I was going to ask you, is around injuries. Yeah. I mean, in your training, did you get injuries? I mean, how do you recover? What are the sort of injuries that people get from this sort of training?
So I've not had one of these yet, but a common one is like bicep bicep ruptures. You can get your pulling tendons in your fingers. These can go like, you'll be climbing or doing a lot of I honestly believe doing the gymnastics, and I've strengthened up my tendons. I've never had a problem with my pulley tendons or my biceps, or because jolting around catching things like this. And if you're tight and you're not, because your muscles get stronger a lot faster than your tendons and bones, and I think a lot of people will get strong real quick, and the tendons might be slowly catching up. Tendonitis is a big one. I've had tendonitis. Some people have had it really bad because same thing, your muscles can get strong way quicker than your tendons. Tendons take months, 6 months at a time. Your muscles can take weeks to get stronger. I've had stitches on my nose, stitches on my head, staples in my head just from smacking my head off things. Smashed shins. This is all when you fall, but bad. Besides doing the ninja stuff, and this was just when I started doing the ninja stuff. I was still doing powerlifting, so I was doing heavy deadlifts, heavy squats, and I was still doing the ninja stuff. And I'd sometimes go to the adult gymnastics class with a bunch of friends from the ninja community, and we'd do flips and tricking and like parkour kind of stuff. And I was also doing labor intensive jobs at the time. I'd just come out of school, and I was just trying different jobs, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do in my career path. And I already had a bulging disc, and I think I had 2 bulging discs, and one impinged a nerve. And still to this day, I've got numbness in my left leg, but I had foot drop for like 4 to 6 months. I was rushed to the hospital because I was like crying. I was like, chopped my leg off. It was like a toothache, but shooting down my leg. It was this horrible pain I had. And they had me. I was there for like 15 hours waiting for them to, they were saying like, oh, if you wet yourself, we're going to have to do spinal fusion. And then after this whole thing, I went to multiple specialists. I ended up not getting any surgery. And I was like, dragging my foot for like 4 to 6 months. And it took me about 2 years until I could do a pistol squat it was my left leg. And I have a desk job now. And that's what got me into this drafting career. It was because I was doing these labor jobs, and I was like, right, I can't do any labor jobs at the moment. I needed to find a career path at a desk. Never thought I would get a desk job. I was always felt super active, and I did like cabinet making for 2 years, aircon installs for 2 years. I was doing tree lopping for 7 months, and obviously hurt my back. And I fell into this drafting career path. But it's kind of worked out good for me because it's like adult Lego. That's how I describe it to friends. I'm drawing 3D models, but it also allows me to not injure myself working, lifting heavy things, and I can go crazy and have so much more energy and train after work, for example. But
which makes complete sense. Coming back to the actual competition itself, do you know in advance what the different activities are going to be in the competition before you are called up to the event in front of you, like to that particular run that you're going to do? Do you know what's ahead of you, and do you know how that you're going to be able to train for that specifically? Or is it just like there's like 50 different items and you could get 5?
Well, you don't really know what you're signing up for. You just know it's going to be ninja obstacles. And like when we did season 6, there was Australia's first ever seen obstacles you've never seen before. Even before you don't. So let's say there's a heat, right? There's multiple heats and semi-finals and grand finals. Before one of your heats, and there'll be 50-ish, 40 to 50 people competing in that heat. You'll all do one walkthrough, and they will show you the obstacle once, and that's it. It's like one walkthrough. They'll show the obstacles. They'll be like, right, you step on these steps, wobbly steps, or you touch these red bars. You don't touch the scaffolding. They'll give you the rules. They'll tell you what to do, what not to do to get this. Like, if you grab something that's on the outside, metal scaffolding, for example, they'll say, look, you'll get disqualified. They'll tell you all the rules. And this is only on the day of the course. You only know on the day or the night, you're running, and that's it. But
Wow.
yeah, like preparing yourself, you can just really, all you've got is researching, watching YouTube clips of, American Ninja Warrior, UK Ninja Warrior, Australian Ninja Warrior, for example. That's all you really have. And there's obviously, if you're lucky, you've got some ninja gyms, or you've got, like, I've got some friends who have built, wooden ninja setups in the backyard, like chippies, the carpenters that know how to build these things. But that's, you kind of just, you kind of got to trust your body and just be prepared. Like I was saying, the swinging, the swinging and swinging around bars, and the skill of maneuvering your body around. That's like probably one of the best skills you can have, because then you can adapt it to different obstacles. Like really good body awareness.
Yeah. And I could see that when you were competing, because other people would be taking, say, one swing at a time, and you would just do 3, because you just look, you were so natural at it. So obviously a huge advantage. So last question, really. Season 7, are you going to be there?
I don't know when it's going to be, but considering that I keep coming in, the past 2 seasons I've done, I've got to the last stage, and I've come in the top 5 both times. And honestly, the probably one of the hardest things for most is there's probably 15 people, or 10 to 15 people that could win and finish everything. And I think it comes down to little mistakes, little tiny, you miscatch something, or your head's just not there on the day. You've gone so well throughout the whole course, and it could just be one day where your mental game's not there, and that's probably one of the hardest things to prepare for. And you'd think it would get easier with the seasons the more seasons you do, but I feel like the pressure just builds up, because you've done so well in the previous season. You've got the pressure. Like, I spoke to Zach Stolz, the winner of season 5, when we were first doing the beginning of season 6, and he was the same. He was like, the pressure, because he just won, and he's got all that pressure on him because he just won. Obviously he won again, and that's very good for him, and he's kept his mental game really strong. But if there's another season 7, I don't know when it's going to be. I don't know what channel it's going to be on, because I don't know what's happening right now, because I think channel 9 aren't going to be airing it anymore. I don't know if they're giving it to a different channel. I'm not sure. But if there's a season 7, I may as well sign up. I've done pretty well so far.
You certainly have. So, I mean, Matt, it's inspiring, and it's incredible. I mean, obviously your background has certainly put you in a great place for it, but it's incredibly, from a spectator, it's incredibly exciting to watch, incredibly entertaining. The strength and the skill is just sensational. So thank you for entertaining us all. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and your experience. Thank you for joining us today, and we wish you every bit of success for season 7. This could be your year or your turn. So good luck and all the best, and thanks again.
Thank you very much for having me, Jane.